she will take the lead with this presentation. Djounia, the floor is yours. I will be in the back end if anyone has any questions. You could just drop it in the chat. And also, out of respect for Djounia, please mute your mic. That way you don't interrupt. If you do have a question, drop it in the chat box or use the raise hand to ask any questions.
Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna open my presentation. Okay, there it is. Maybe not. Share. Awesome. Can everyone see my screen? I think it's working now.
Yes, you all set.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. As Debbie mentioned, I am Djounia, Djounia Saint-Fleurant. I currently work as a technical project lead for one of the quasi public department of the city of Boston, where I work with data a lot. And because it's a government, we're working for the government, although we are a private company, kind of. So I've been able to see how data can actually help save a project during the entire process. Today, we're gonna dive into something that is becoming essential for all of us. I'm sure everybody here has I've heard of data, like all around us, like, oh, there's data. Like when you're on social media, they're asking you if you agree for them to collect your data, most likely, not always. And you can see that when you go on social media, for example, you might have been thinking about something or talking about something with a friend, and when you open your Instagram, the first thing you see, it's what you've been talking about, like an ad about that. So that's how data matters in today's world. But it has been used mostly by private companies, and not many NGO do. They mostly use it for report, and this is the point of this conversation today. It's how to use data beyond creating reports at the end of a project. Next slide. Okay, so the reason we're having this conversation for the NGOs mostly, it's in this current environment and in today's world, we can see that funding is getting tighter. We had like a whole political thing going on where they cut funding, and then most NGOs and most project going on around the world had to stop because of funding. So now there's a real fight. We had a fight before for funding. Now it's like bigger because everybody needs funding. Universities, government, small NGOs, big NGOs, and apparently there's not enough money for that. And there's the as we're experiencing that limited funding, we can also see that there's like the needs are getting bigger in the world. So you might have think, okay, we're gonna fight for access of education, but now there's you have to think about mental health. You have to think about the different layers in society that needs that help, and the needs is growing more and more. And also because of how connected the world are, or the world is, you can see that people are expecting way more from an NGO than they were before because they can see what is happening in other part of the world. They like the problems are more like people are more aware of the problems around them and they expect people to help them at a greater level. And data can actually help you kind of like put all those three issues together and like find a solution that can help. And the goal of this presentation is literally to explore simple, practical ways to start making data a core part of your strategy. There's this I wanted to address when it comes to data. It's not just a report. Like, at the end of a project, you have to send a report where you're gonna say, okay, we serve 1,000 meals. We provided education to 500 children. And this is so far, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong in your case, especially where I'm working. When I joined, I had to create the entire, not department, but almost everything that came with having a data department. So even my title is not literally data because it's not something that they were like looking for. And it's something that I brought with me. It's like technical project lead. So it's just to explain how it's not something that is prevalent in all the organization that I've worked with in the past. And it's a competitive advantage. It's something that you can use to your advantage. Having data, like you could see in the sorry, having data is something that you can use every day, whether it's your attendance list. I know whenever you have an event, you ask people for the name, email, um, age, like many information you ask them about. But most of the time, those information sits somewhere, like in an Excel sheet, and you're not using it beyond that. Um, Also, you have to have decision-ready data. Sometimes you have a long list of like or huge sheet of Excel, and you have a huge sheet of Excel, and when you have it, when you open it, there's not much you can see, or there's not much you can do with it because since the collection, there's a specific things that you have to think about to have those decision-ready data. And lastly, the stories. I know a lot of NGO goes with stories like, um, you can have like stories matter a lot in helping people, but stats also matter, and it's not always at the end. Okay. All right. So I've been talking about data-driven decision all along, and what it means really, it's using facts and evidence to guide your choices, your choices across programs, fundraising, and operation. It's something that is present in all aspects of your organization. And also, when I'm talking about, oh, you need to have like to collect data and have those ready, you already do. In fact, you have those donor lists, you have attendance sheets, budgets, and you have so many things that you might not think is data for you, but it is. And the reason it matters, I've been talking about it since I started, it's literally because you can see what is working and what is not working. There's no you don't have to guess it. I think many, like, because we use our brains so often, we tend to beat ourselves to find a solution, or like to think, what is not working? Oh my God, what is wrong with what we're doing? Why aren't we receiving more donation? And sometimes the answer just lies in the data that you already collected. You just have to make use of it. And also because it helps you make stronger cases to funders. I just mentioned how it was hard nowadays to raise money for your NGO, especially because what is happening currently, and also because it has always been challenging. And lastly, because it can help you stop wasting money, time on things that don't work. Um, there's a lot of cases like this where people just doing something, but it's not helping the communities as it should, because there's one insight that they are missing. Those are some real examples where NGOs can use um, data. It can help you measure program success by tracking participant outcomes. This is something I'm sure if you have an NGO currently, you have been using it because that's part of the reporting process. And it can help you identify donor pattern to improve fundraising strategies. Um, I have a case study coming next, and you will see what I'm talking about for this point. It can help you forecast volunteer engagement to optimize recruitment effort. I have an example for this one at my job because we rely a lot on volunteer to have a work happen. And it's because we are having people do real job, not like, okay, like basic covering jobs, but it's like it could have been a 9 to 5 job, but we're not paying them type of things. And it's important for us to know, to ensure that they are happy and also to make sure that they always stay engaged. And I've created this platform where volunteer can in real time send their concern. Also, that's where they checking. That's where they checking. They log their hours and everything that has to do that you can think about a volunteer, that they can do everything on that platform. And I do like I make like with Excel. I'm not using anything like R or Python, which can be like, okay, that's very hard for data. But no, it's just Excel to see when volunteers are less likely to come and what could be impacting the specific change. And from there, know what outcome or what solution we should take to improve that. And lastly, you can use it to streamline resource allocation based on actual need, not assumption. And this is something I'm sure you've been doing with your budget. You can like main project, take a look at the budget, and you see, oh my God, we have less money um, left than planned, so we have to reduce spending on specific categories. Or you can see that we have way more money left. So we have to increase uh, um, spending in other categories. So I was just saying that I mostly don't use Python or R. And it's not because I can't use it, but because really Excel or Google Sheets can do most of the works. Um, it can help you track important numbers regularly, and this is what you need to start doing. You don't have to think about everything that is happening in the NGO. You have to think about 2 or 3 important numbers. Is it donor, like how many donors you have, how much money they give, and then when do they give it? You can think about that. Or is it your volunteers? Do you want to track when they come, when they don't come? Just think about those 2 or 3. You don't have to think about an entire data set. And you really have to meet once a month to review them. it's not, if the project is 6 months long, you have it's not the best to come at the end of those 6 months to say, okay, let's see what happened. But mostly like every month to see where you are. And it matters a lot with budget. And the big question, which is a bit simple too, it's what is this telling us? What is this data telling us? If you can see a data set, and you're like, okay, that's a data set. But when you ask the question, what is this data telling me? You can see beyond that number. I was talking about the case study, and we got to it. We have a situation where an NGO noticed that they had fewer repeat donations over the past 6 months. And they just assumed it was due to inflation or donor fatigue. Before I go to the next slide, can somebody tell me what could be the reason? Would it be inflation or donor fatigue? And why do you think so? I think anybody can just open your mic and then go. Or should I choose someone? With Monique, are you here?
I think people are shy today.
Yeah, I think so. With Monique, are you here?
Um, yes, I'm here, but I don't have any question for now. And for me, everything is okay.
Oh, it's not a like question. So we have a situation where an NGO noticed fewer repeat donation over the past 6 months, and they want to know, they're assuming that it's either inflation or donor fatigue. What would you think it is considering today's environment and everything that's happening?
Wait for me because I wasn't focused on the phone because I'm outside, but I will read
Oh,
it. Maybe if you can take someone else first, and after I will give
all
my
right.
answer.
All
I
right.
can I can jump in.
Okay.
Okay. Let's discuss about and in the context now of Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
it can be poli inflation.
Mm-hmm.
What is for you in your mind? What
Mm-hmm.
is the meaning of inflation? Is only linked to economical aspect or all aspect
It can
regarding
be linked to all
yeah.
aspects.
It can be in Haiti, in the context of Haiti now, it can be inflation.
Okay. That's very possible, and that's a good guess. Um, but the point in with that case study, while this can be true, while we might have inflation, but not always that donor can be like, okay, I'm not gonna donate anymore because things are too expensive. It can happen, but people who
Mhm,
have like a good heart and want
mhm,
to help, they're always gonna find a way. Even if they lower their donation, they're gonna find a way. You're right, but I'm just trying to make another point. Okay?
mhm.
I
May
can
I ask a
Okay.
question? May I ask a question?
Yeah.
My question is, according to my experience,
Mhm.
sometimes as manager, it's easy to identify the problem. Sorry for my French
No, it's
accent.
okay. You can actually speak French. I think people.
Out of the organization.
Uh-huh.
It's easier to identify the problem as it's out of the organization.
Mhm.
That's sometimes the arts it's inflation problem instead of analyze inside the organization and to identify. It can be both out or
Mhm.
inside the organization. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
point.
That's true. That's true. You're totally right. But in this NGO specifically, what happened, because they had an Excel sheet, so what they did, oh, Debbie, you want to say something?
Yes, I think for me in this scenario is identifying what is donor. Are we like in your case, in your presentation, the donor here is an individual given $30 a month or 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 a month, depending on their tier level. Um, yes, both answers could be right. It could be donor fatigue, it could be inflation, but at the same time, it could also be a third option, which is that the donor feels neglected by the organization, where the organization does not reach out to them, the organization does not acknowledge them. The only time the organization reached out to them is when they need money. So the donor is feeling like they no longer align with the value or they no longer align with the organization.
Exactly. That's what's happened with that NGO. How did you know?
Keep them.
So that's something that
I
happens all the time. Yes, Debbie.
I mean, being in the sector, that is a plausible reason, but because as you mentioned, what is the data for us? I think like for any organization, it doesn't matter if you're an NGO, is to understand the data and ask yourself questions that could ultimately give you answers that you weren't thinking of. Like I have a tendency, like it's a risk assessment, really. I have a tendency where I think of the worst scenarios of possibilities. It's like, what if this happens? What could be the reason? What can I do? What is XYZ? And ultimately putting yourself in the shoes of the person who's given money. What would you want in organizations to do for you so that you give them more money just because you care for the initiative, just because I guess the organization has given once or twice doesn't mean that they will constantly give. So how do you engage your donors to give you more money?
Exactly. Thank you, Debbie. Good insight. So to go back to Excel, we had the case, everybody, Engineer has like, it's probably inflation. That's the assumption. Debbie talk about looking at the data, and this is what we're gonna see today. So, in a simple way to see what's happening, you have an Excel sheet with all the donation, the date. If you had a campaign, the campaign name, you pull all those, you pull that Excel sheet out, you look at all those data, and you go and you create a basic dashboard. The good things with Excel now, there's a bit of AI implemented in it, so you can just type something and it will show what you want to see. And also you can use ChatGPT. It can tell you what to do. So that's a good other resources to use if you don't have a data team. And you quickly go and use filters and you do a countif, which is a formula in Excel that will give you the percentage of donors who gave more than once. And once you have that, you can go and then you create another cell where you see, did we send a thank you email to those donors? And let's assume that's an assumption based on my case that you realize that you didn't send thank you emails to the donors. And that's what you find. You find that the campaign that you had, you skip sending thank you emails because let's say the employee that was in charge of this left the company and then that was overlooked, or you just simply forgot because let's say you have like a 3 people NGO or like 2 people NGO, which is mostly the case, you don't have that time to like think about, oh my God, let me send thank you email all the time. You might forget. It's something that can be overlooked. And you have what happened, what Debbie just mentioned, is that donors who don't feel acknowledged, they're far less likely to give again. Um, they're not like, those are like very simple things that you might not think about, but if you put it in your like individual context, like think about yourself, if you give money somewhere and they say, "Oh my God, thank you, we appreciate it," and the next month they send you like an email saying, "We use your money to donate 25 school kits to students," and now they like feel acknowledged. They know their money is working for them, like they're helping the community really, so they know what's going on. They will donate again. It's something that is human. mostly. And it's something that you always need to use. And one of the things you can do is reinstate follow-up email as standard process, not as like, okay, I'm gonna type it, but there's a lot of probably you know about that. I think MailChimp probably send email. You can like schedule email. Just go and like write it and then it goes to everybody else in your list. There's a lot of um solutions nowadays with technology to improve your relationship with your donors and also data. And I think I probably mentioned those misconceptions. It's not about data, having a data-driven organization. It's not about endless reporting or bureaucracy. It's not every day I have to report something. It's not that. It's you have a date to go check, or when you realize a problem, you go and check what's going on with your data. And it's not for tech-savvy organization. You don't need a huge team like something like Google. You're not Google. And I mentioned you don't need to use Python or R or Tableau or Power BI. You might not even know those things exist. You just need Excel or Google Sheet because I know Microsoft might make you pay for Excels. And lastly, it's not a replacement for human judgment. Internet, I think you mentioned that somehow you can see what's not working most of the time. I think you said it like that. And it's because you still might think something, you need to double check it with data and see, okay, yeah, me and data together, we're right. Something like that. Not me alone, I'm right. And why all this is worth it? It's because organizations that leverage data effectively are more credible, they're more agile, they're better positions for long-term success. Because you will see that all the little problems that you have, you are solving them little by little and then helping the community better. And also they can attract funding more easily because they can prove,
Junia, sorry.
yes,
Uh, if you're sharing your screen,
it's not showing.
no.
Okay, stop sharing. Mm. What about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is why it's worth it. You can attract funding more easily because now you can prove and improve your impact. Um, and if you haven't been doing so, you don't have to like have like a huge brainstorming session where you go, oh my God, what do we need to do? We haven't been using data. Oh, that's overwhelming. That's a lot. It's not. You just have to start with that one decision. You have to identify one critical area where you need those information, where those information could help you. One or two, like if you have the time. You have to see, okay, what's the problem that we have today? And then what is one area that we have data? You see, next it's review what data you already have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like you don't have to go, let's have a survey, let's go and collect more data because you most likely already have the data you need to start solving your problem. And you have next you test one small data-driven change and then you measure the result at the end. And it's a quote that I use. In today's environment, being mission-driven is not enough. You must also be information-driven. You know, information is power, and I think it's time that NGOs start using information. Thank you so much. I will take questions now. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Junia. I would say to keep your presentation up if possible,
Okay.
please and thank you. I do have some questions related to, I guess, like what you shared before. It's what is this data for? In any organizations, this one, it's like where do we start basically? As you said, it's like look at what information you already have in your system. And
Yes.
if you don't have data is the aspect of asking yourself, what do you want the data for? What is it that you're trying to say? And understanding that because you have data, not all data are created equal. And
Yeah.
there's a sense of PII, which stands for personally identifiable information. Whereas just because you collect the information, yes, you own this piece of data, you cannot and you should not share these data readily to outside sources, and you should protect all data that you've received. Whereas you can remove the person's first name, emails, their address, if they provide you any other information, which I hope that your organization is not collecting, maybe their social and things like that. So these pieces of information you will never necessarily collect, but you will collect their name, their emails, and their address if need be, and even their phone numbers. So before sharing to outsiders, to always remove those and also ask permission before sharing these pieces of informations. And I guess like it's also then also tie into what is it that you're currently working on in the piece of data that you're currently looking for. Perfect example for us at Centre NGO, we do have a current campaign where we're trying to assess the Haitian diaspora's engagement in philanthropy to see how they give, why they stop giving, and ultimately what initiative they are willing to give to, and what it is like, why it is that they've never given to, and why it is that they're never given to. And so far, what we've collected are insights that can help nonprofits in Haiti or within the Haitian diaspora to help them better equip them and to so that they can create better campaigns, better programming to target these potential donors. And ultimately, the one thing that cross-border that the data is telling us is that the Haitian diaspora, it's not that we're tired of giving to Haiti, it's more so like some people stop giving because there's a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability. So they're seeking organizations that are transparent when it comes to sharing data, sharing, okay, like what happened? What happened to the money? I give you a perfect example with the canal. It was like, I gave you $100,000. What did you do with that $100,000? Where's the report? And within our community, reporting or receipts seems to be
Yeah.
like a touchy feeling.
Yeah, it is.
But at the end of the day, it's just more like it's not, they're not saying that you stole money. It's a matter of like, holding yourself accountable and just let everything out. So I would say that's my 2 cents. It's not a question, it's just like adding on to the presentation you
Yeah.
provided.
Yeah.
If anyone have any question, I would say raise your hand, drop it in the chat, or unmute yourself.
Good. Thank you, Debbie. That was needed. It's something that we have to think about when dealing with data. As Debbie mentioned, the privacy and how you're using the data. I think you just have to approach it as, would I want my information to be shared, my personal information? I think that's a good way to start with knowing what data should I share outside with outsiders. I think Dr. Betty has something.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for a wonderful presentation, Djounia.
Yes.
I learned a lot. I have not gone down that road yet because of hesitation with the fundraising, but I hear all the different aspect and principle we got to consider. What I wanted to share is what I have done is I haven't done. I guess donors, but it's big donors that gives me like $1,000. Not that it's big stuff, but it's about 3 of them. And data is important because I work with rural farming community and I present the data, how many of my young adult went to the vocational trade and what trade did they take? What did they finish it? Did they get a certificate? What did they do about it? So I'm very clear that these type of information, like you were saying, when they have meetings, I encourage them, get a list. And believe it or not, when I speak to my donors and I tell them these things, like the stories, it impact them and they want to fund. But again, thank you. I learned a lot. So I could leap into this fundraising campaign stuff. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dr. Betty. I'm glad it was useful to you. Thank you. Any other question, comment?
I do have a question. You mentioned you don't need to have experience using R, Python, SQL, or
Power BI.
business intelligence and whatnot. So one platform that I agree with you, which is Google Excel rather than Microsoft Excel because you have to pay for the service at some point, is how would you recommend anyone here or anyone who's not data experts in their field to utilize Google Excel spreadsheets, whereas like they have like sheets after sheets after sheets, like maybe like the sheets might get lost, or they just simply don't know how to like include some formulas in the cells to give you the number that you're looking for. And you mentioned AI. I'm like, I love AI, to be honest with you. It has been very helpful.
Yes, it is. It is.
Um,
Yeah, you can.
so which AI, like paired with Google Excel,
Mhm.
which AI would you recommend to the wider audience to utilize within their work to help them assess the number? And also, if you're going to use any AI, you also need to validate that the output that they're giving you is accurate because,
Yeah,
AI besoin de training here and there.
yeah, it is. I don't know if you've ever been like you've been using ChatGPT and you're like, no, this is not what I want. Do better. I do that all the time, and I have many friends that do the same. It's like when you're using it not to get like I know people sometimes they go and they're like, give me something, and then ChatGPT give them something and they take it as is. And it's not, you have to like, if you know what you're looking for, you can orient it the AI to give you that. Um there's a lot of other platforms that are implemented in Google already in Google Sheets. It's a Google search, go on Google and looking for specifically what you need. It can tell you which of the application they already have on Google Sheet that can give you that information. That's one thing. But ChatGPT has evolved. I'm saying ChatGPT because it's the most common, but there's so many of them. But for
There's
different
DeepSeek,
purposes.
there's Getliner.
Yeah.
I prefer ChatGPT OpenAI with Getliner. So Getliner is more for the researcher, and ChatGPT, they've gotten somewhat good at providing actual links like to
Mhm.
validate data that are current. But Getliner for me is more hands-on when it comes to you want to make sure that your sources are accurate, that the information that is given you is accurate, and then basically all you have to do is like filter, read it, see
Mhm.
if whether or not it makes sense, rewrite it into your own words
Yeah.
so that it makes sense to whoever's reading it. And,
Yeah.
and I guess like most people have a question of the right of authorship,
Oh,
like who owns something like that once AI writes it, who owns it? Like and I know it
yeah.
has been a big issue in academia, but
Yeah.
really if you give AI the output that you've gotten and the output that you're using is that it's yours. Like you made it yours. You authentically made it yours and make sure that if you're gonna publish it, to remove the part that is generated by AI, which is like, oh, I understand this. This is the output. This is what make sure that people cannot really detect that it's AI.
Yeah, there's that too. I think one of my professor mentioned that you can cite AI
Yes.
if you had it on ChatGPT, just say ChatGPT,
Mhm.
especially in the context of research. But I didn't know about GetLiner, but I use Perplexity a
Mhm.
little bit more for research because it's on, like, I just get the link and I click on them and I see the paper. But for something simple like data, like has like going on an Excel sheet, it's like instead of going on Google to ask a question, you go on ChatGPT and ask the questions because you can upload your sheet. Uh,
Yes.
Now you can upload with ChatGPT. If you have like an Excel sheet, let's say with 10 columns of information, you go and you upload that Excel sheet and you ask what do you see from this data? What can I use this data for? What information can I get from this data? Or if you know what you're looking for, I am looking for this. What is the formula that I can use on Excel to get that information? It's
I think with this one, what is the formula to use on Excel? I think you need to be very specific if you're using Google Excel. So you need to tell
yeah,
it
yeah,
exactly. It's like, what is the formula that I can use on Google
on Google
Excel
Sheets.
to
Yeah,
get the output that you're looking for?
yeah,
And sometimes you will have to edit the formula just a little bit so that it gives you the output that you're looking for, because
exactly.
you may plug it in and it gives you an error.
You can also say, hey, ChatGPT, it's not working. Give me another one. I use ChatGPT a lot to code. Because I code a lot. I don't use Excel much for my research and data work because I work with a lot of data. There's big data, there's data. I think in your case, I'm talking about data, but big data, you can't mostly work on it on Excel because it will be tiring. Sometimes you just need the line of code and then it gives you the answer with a more powerful big data platform. So I use ChatGPT a lot to code. I sometimes I have the code, I know it, and I type, okay, this is my code, just double check if it has an issue. And it will, oh yeah, it's perfect. Or no, it's not. You needed to add this specific line, and I added it for you. Now I use it. And sometimes I don't know what I'm looking for, and I ask, I am using R. Can you tell me what if I need to do to generate this specific graph, what do I need to what line of code I need? I think there's so many things you can do with ChatGPT. I think in the past 2 years ago, if you asked me that question, Debbie, I would have said I need to have another presentation about Google Sheets. But now I can just send it to ChatGPT, and I'm sure um, it can help in many ways. Besides, when it comes to copyright, I don't encourage anyone to go type something on like if you're writing an essay, you go, okay, give me an essay. I don't encourage someone to do that, but you can use it to find formula, you can use it to find codes, you can use it to have ideas. Like, okay, I'm thinking about this, give me an idea. And then with either idea, you're like, okay, yeah, I can take that idea, but improve it into this. Something like that. Yes, with Monique.
Hello everyone. One thing I want to add in this subject about ChatGPT, to have a better experience with ChatGPT, you can ask him or her, I don't know, to be like an expert in the field that you want. So if we want to have a better answer about data, we can ask him to be like an expert in data, to be in data analysis, and you will have a better answer instead of you come and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, ChatGPT, I would like to know, da da da. I would like you to help me with this." So the first, because ChatGPT can be all what you want. It can be any expert that you want. So just ask him to be this expert. You can ask him to lower the level also. So I think it's a very change for for our generation.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
I
So, thank
wanna
you.
piggyback on what you're saying. I just took a class, and what it said is to actually detail more what you want. What I do with ChatGPT, I actually put down what I'm looking for, my wording, where I'm going, and allow it to expand on it. And like you said, and then correct it.
Yeah,
And after a while, ChatGPT start knowing
who you are.
where I am, and I can just add a few and it does. So we gotta not just say, do this.
Mhm.
What is this do you want to do? How do you want to expand it to the left, to the right, to the middle,
Yeah,
circle it, push it back to the right, to the left? You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta give it
exactly.
direction, or else it'll give you something in the middle of it, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's not what I asked for."
Exactly.
Thank
You
you.
are right. You do. You're making good use of ChatGPT right now. That's good.
So it sounds like what I'm hearing is we should have like two separate sessions on
Yeah.
Google Excel spreadsheet and ChatGPT on how to use that. So I'm taking notes here.
Oh yeah. You do need like a session on Google Sheets, like how to use it, more like a workshop,
Hmm.
like bringing data and like, okay, what can we use that data for, and how do we get? I'm happy to provide some formulas. I don't know, some formulas because it's something that I do every day. So let me know.
I will tap you on that one for sure. But I wanted to respect everyone's time. It's 11:51 and giving you back just a little seconds, to enjoy the morning of Saturdays. Enjoy yourself, and we will be sending over the recording as well as the presentation and also the survey if you don't mind just, filling it out, telling us what you took away, what you want to see more. Just give us your feedback. So that again is a form of data collection where we are assessing what it is that we do and how we can do it better to help you in our community. Thank you, Djounia. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Debbie. Thanks for
Yeah.
having
Thank
me.
you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.